He's at that age, where most boxers are just memories. After 6 years, he's stepping back into the ring once again. Joe Rogan issued a warning. Oscar de la Hoya expressed concern. And the entire boxing world is in fear. Can Manny Pacquiao shock the world once again? But there's only one question. Can Manny Pacquiao shock the world once again? July the 19th, history will be made, or broken. This isn't just a fight. It's a war, against age, time, and doubt. Pacquiao versus Barrios, a legend vs a young champion. Or will this comeback prove to be a dangerous mistake? Or will this comeback turn out to be a dangerous mistake?
There's the thought. It's an absolute joke. I love Manny Pacquiao. Love everything about him. An all-time great in terms of what he's done previous, but that doesn't entitle you to just walk back in after 6 years and get a number 4 ranking with the WBC and fight for a world title. What about all the other guys that are waiting around? It's wrong. We seen Manny Pacquiao fight an exhibition against a kickboxer in his last fight, and kickboxers can't box, right? I've seen world champion kickboxers coming and sparring boxers. They can't box. They can kick, but they can't, and they can kick and box a little bit. They can't really box. And Manny didn't look great. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The WBC, I think we have a lot of time for him, Richie O'Sullivan, but I think it's a mistake, really do, and they should be quite embarrassed allowing a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao straight in for a world title fight.
Joe Rogan has responded to Manny Pacquiao's comeback fight, acknowledging that at this stage of life, there are simply too many unknowns to confidently say who holds the advantage. Esteemed trainer Abel Sanchez also weighed in, praising Pacquiao's drive but warning of the dangers involved in facing a top-tier welterweight like Mario Barrios. Sanchez stressed that this isn't a soft matchup, it's a bout against a reigning world-class fighter in his athletic prime. Still, he left room for surprise, referencing legendary figures like George Foreman, who achieved age-defying victories. Meanwhile, critics have turned their focus toward Mario Barrios, questioning the legitimacy of him fighting someone more than a decade older. Many argue that Barrios has plenty of worthy opponents in his age group and beating a retired legend doesn't earn respect. It may, in fact, tarnish his own standing. They claim this fight lacks competitive credibility and benefits neither fighter's legacy or rankings. Boxing analysts are expressing deep concern over Pacquiao's decision to return. Some are even calling for the WBC to cancel the match altogether, fearing the combination of Pacquiao's age, long absence, and the punching power of a much younger opponent. There's growing speculation.
I think Mario is gonna go out there and just put a beating on Manny. I think Manny's a little too old, but I mean, he's a legend. He really did what he did, so I really don't see a reason for him to come back. But if he wants to get in the ring with Mario, then I guess Mario has to show him that youth. He has a youth, and Manny Pacquiao should have just stayed retired.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of fans are saying, and are still kind of disbelief. But even looking at social media and the fans, they're thrilled just to see him back. So just to have him in the ring, and fighters at that age are not competing.
I think that just says a lot about the type of fighter Manny Pacquiao is, the stardom he has. I mean, he's 46, 47?
He's 46.
And people are still excited to see him fight. So, I mean, that just says a lot about him and what he's done in his career. So, like I said earlier, to see a friend I grew up with fight Manny Pacquiao is going to be pretty cool. And in the same night. So it's
that this fight could end in a brutal knockout, possibly with serious long-term health consequences for Pacquiao. Critics have pointed out that Pacquiao's last bout wasn't even against a boxer. He faced a Muay Thai fighter and still struggled. For some, that's proof enough that the WBC should intervene. They argue the match should be scrapped entirely or, at the very least, Barrios should be stripped of his WBC title for defending it against a 46-year-old. While a slim chance exists that Pacquiao could outbox Barrios on points, many feel it's highly unlikely. But if Pacquiao does win, some believe it would cement his legacy as the greatest boxer of all time, surpassing even Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Floyd Mayweather. Physically, Barrios holds clear advantages. He's younger, bigger, and likely to be stronger on fight night. Barrios will probably weigh around 160 to 165 pounds, while Pacquiao won't tip the scale above 145 pounds. Barrios is expected to use his jab, size, and youth to control the fight. However, Pacquiao still possesses a high boxing IQ, and Barrios' defense looked shaky in his last performance. That said, age remains the biggest factor. So it's official. Manny Pacquiao will fight Mario Barrios on July 19th in Las Vegas for the WBC welterweight title. After 4 years away from professional boxing, Pacquiao aims to become the oldest active world champion in the sport's history. The bout had been rumored for some time. They tried to set it up last year after Pacquiao's exhibition match with DKO, but only recently finally...
He wasn't going to be there long.
No, man. He was, and you would see the look in the guy's eyes when they would see him across the ring, like, oh my God, what the fuck did I sign up for?
So exciting. When you were with him, when he was here, do you feel like this is still a menacing physical guy, or did you feel like...
Well, he's real nice.
Yeah, I know
he's a real nice guy, but he's still...
But does he still have that, you know, guys that were tough in their youth, you still feel that thing.
Analyze the deal. Still, Pacquiao's age and inactivity have sparked serious concern among doctors and boxing professionals. Years out of the ring mean his body likely won't absorb punishment the same way. The brutal reality of boxing doesn't leave room for decline, and retired fighters often pay a devastating price for comeback attempts, ranging from concussions to permanent neurological issues. People remember the terrifying knockout Pacquiao suffered at the hands of Juan Manuel Marquez. Some genuinely feared for his life in that moment. Unlike Mayweather, who rarely took clean shots, Pacquiao has faced real danger before, and it could happen again. Critics say if the fight happens in states like Nevada or California, where regulations are stricter,
You got Manny winning?
No. Against Barrios?
Yeah.
No, I think look, every great fighter got one great fight left in him. That had to be Thurman. And Manny, I think Manny seems to want to... Manny appears to be like how Bernard and Roy were. Like, he's really one of those great old school fighters where you got to he's got to go out on his shield.
Yeah.
Going out on your shield used to not mean just in any given fight. It used to mean that's how they went out, period, fighters. And Manny's like that.
I do not want to see...
It's really hard to see Manny Pacquiao losing to Mario Barrios because of who they are. But who they are now, you know?
Sean, I do not want to see like Manny on the knee, mouthpiece out. That's going to hurt me.
Kevin McBride, Mike Tyson.
That's going to hurt me. That's going
would be a shock and a letdown. There's no doubt Pacquiao is a living legend. His record of world titles across 8 weight classes is unparalleled. But his decision to return after a long hiatus has stirred controversy. Rather than bolstering his legacy, many believe this could damage it. Some even say this fight undermines the sport of boxing. Although Pacquiao is a Hall of Famer and Barrios is a real champion, the matchup feels more like a spectacle than a fair contest. Comparisons to high-profile, entertainment-first events like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson aren't uncommon. Critics argue it misleads fans and dilutes the value of genuine title fights. Some even call it more of a circus than the Tyson-Paul bout. Carl Frampton didn't hold back, bluntly calling the match a mistake and a joke. He believes letting a 46-year-old fighter go straight into a title fight is shameful and potentially dangerous. He, along with other former pros, emphasized the long-term risks to Pacquiao's health over the possibility of a legacy-boosting win. While many assume Pacquiao is returning for a payday, he's insisted otherwise, citing his deep passion for boxing and his desire to inspire. He's highlighted his philanthropic efforts, including donating over $1 billion pesos to various causes, and said this comeback is about history, not money. In contrast to figures like Floyd Mayweather, who flaunt wealth, Pacquiao presents himself as a champion for the people, dedicated, generous, and humble. Still, some worry this return will end in tragedy. Depending on how ruthless Barrios is in the ring,
he's older, he's been out of the ring, he's fighting I'm not going to say a young champion, but he's fighting a very decent champion. Probably the lesser of the three of the welterweight champions, but he is getting up in age. Will he be able to recapture some of that speed and snap to his punches? Who knows? But George Foreman did it at a much later age, so Manny has a chance. I think that he has a chance against a good champion.
Do you feel like with Mario Barrios in particular, then it's a champion they've targeted because in his last performance he didn't really, set the world alight. It was a draw, and he's left a few question marks around himself.
Not only that, the other thing is Norman is a very good fighter, and so is Boots. I mean, you're talking about two very, very good fighters that are, I think, on a different level than Barrios is.
Do you feel like that this could be the risk where, let's say, if Manny was to have success, was to become champion again, then he then looks at it and thinks, oh, can I go on a run? Can I get one of these other names?
That is a big risk, but I don't think that would be the fight that. Well, those two wouldn't be the fights that they would be looking for. I'm sure that if Manny is fortunate enough to be in great shape, and listen, Freddie's a master. Freddie will figure out a way to win a fight that's winnable, and maybe then guide him towards other defense.
A magnet for public curiosity. Whether you see it as inspiring or reckless, it raises crucial questions about aging in combat sports, about how far legends should push, and about whether legacy is worth risking everything for. So what do you think? Is this a heroic final chapter or a dangerous gamble?